working on developing number sense, but also developing this part to whole relationship in numbers. We're going to be doing a couple activities that really emphasize that numbers can be made up of other numbers. So numbers are, have different parts to it. We've done a similar activity, building in parts, building a number in parts using Unifix cubes, but today we'll be using dot strips, grid paper, and crayons, and again, additional grid paper that's been cut into two column strips. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be building parts of numbers using the two column strips. And basically what I've done is I've just cut out two column strips using our regular grid paper that we can print up online and fashioning them into representing different numbers. Like this would be the number 7. Again, this would be number 1, 4, 6, 2, 3, 5. We have numbers represented all the way from 1 through 10. And basically what you do is you have children look at a certain number and try to build that number in as many ways as they can. So the number that I'm working on in this particular example is the number 8. So for the first one, you can see I have number 5 and 3. So kids can put these together and count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what I would do is I would have the two column strips in piles where they can see from 1 through 10, or even from just 1 through 7, and have them put together different patterns for the number 8. So for example, if they were looking at the first one, 1, they would have to figure out or count out how many more they needed to get to the number 8. They might they might count with their fingers, they might count on, or they might do some other strategy and figure out that I can do 7. Or they can do trial and error. For example, if they have a 3 and then they have a 2, what they might do in the beginning is they might count it out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That doesn't work. That's not 8, and they might try again, and try to figure out how much more they need to get the number 8. So here we have the number 6 and 2, 4 and 4. So what we want kids to do is we want them to play around with the two column strips. What I would probably do, I would probably model a couple with them, probably using the smaller numbers, like 1, like 3 or 4, and see how many combinations we can do together with me and the student, and then try a simpler number, maybe 3 or 5, that maybe they can do with some guided support, and then give them a number where they can do independently. So by the time they get to 8, 9, or 10, they've had experience, and they can put together a number of combinations. The next thing that we have are dot strips, and dot strips are just strips with dots on them. And then the other thing we can do is we can have kids work with smaller numbers at first. I actually used a larger number. I should have used a smaller number, and have them create patterns. So they can see and they can count out. So for example, we want them to build the number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm sorry, we want them to build the number 7. So they have the pattern paper, and they start putting together the number 7, and they look at the different combinations of 7. So here, for example, we have 6 and 1, and then we have 5 and 2, and we have 4 and 3. And again, what we would want to do with them is we'd want to have some of the dot strips out for them, and for them to put these strips together to come up with a number. For kids who are starting off, what I would do is I would stick with the smaller numbers, 3, 4, 5. Maybe for the number 3 and 4, it could be teacher modeled, if you feel that they really have difficulty with it, and then 2, 1 together with a little guided support, and to have them, once they're comfortable with it and they can put together these numbers using the dot strips, you can have them do something independently, like the number 5, 6, or 7. And the last thing that we have here is again our grid column, and just using crayons and just some grid paper that you can print out, have them color in some combinations. Here, for example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have the number 6, and we have different ways of representing number 6. So for the first row we have 5 and 1, 5 plus 1. Second row we have 3 plus 3. And the last row we have 4 plus 2. So these are different representations of the number 6. It's a very simple activity, but again, we want them to think of in terms of parts to a larger whole. And these are just a couple of just very simple activities using dot strips and grid paper.